Right. Hi. Right. 9:38. Right. So I have given 10 minutes to join. So we have a good participation. Right. Let's start things off. Okay. So now, as usual, right. Let's start things slowly. So if you can hear me, then let me know with a little thumbs up, please. If you can hear me, if you can see me. Right. I hope that today we don't have this lag. So rather like went in that way. Right. So starting on a couple of not notices. So one thing about the crash course. So the enrollments have started. So you are good to join and let me know if you really want to join it. Second thing is I told you 21st. 21st is not this Saturday, but the coming Saturday, right? So still it's not pretty sure whether I would be there or not. One langwela kiyanna. Barry Unot will be doing it on 22nd. I don't think that 21st that I would be occupied. I would be almost free because it is COVID happening. And the third notice is about COVID. The things are spreading like here and there. And the next 10 to 15 days would be very critical for Sri Lanka. So be very careful. So at my workplace also a couple of people have been positive, and for the last week or two I would be also be working from home also with this context. So be careful, right? So that you are good to go, right? Okay. The third notice and the most important one is as usual, how many days remaining, right? That was Kieta. Yes, anyone who can put in the chat box. That was Kieta. How many days remaining? Last class it was around 100 days, right? Today, how much? How many? How many days remaining? 90, how much? Right? 97, 96, 95, 94. Yes. Yes, it's 96, right? So we have 96. Right? So one thing is, may anuhai that when you see this 96, do you feel that you can do it, or else you can't do it? So you either have two options, right? Your mind would say, okay, I can do it, I might not be, right? Can't කියන එක තමයි මම මේ can can't කියන්නේ විභාගේ හැමෝම පාස් වෙනවා. හරිද? ඔයාලත් පාස් වෙනවා, මමත් පාස් වුණා, right? ඔයා හැමෝම I assume that everyone can get pass. පාස් වෙන එක නෙමෙයි my option, right? My option is either to get A or not, right? So first thing is, because today onwards approximately we have around 3 months. හරිද? දැන් දවස් 30 ගානේ ගත්තත් 30ක් නෑ 31ක් තියෙනවා හිතන්නකෝ. At least 96 තුනෙන් බෙදපුවාම you get around 32, right? So you have approximately still 3 months. 3 months තියෙනවා. So now you need to be in a point whether you can go for an A or not කියන structure එකක ඉන්න ඕනේ. මට A එකක් දැන් අද paper එක දුන්නා. අද දැන් මේ paper class මේ revision class එක නෑ, you will be getting the paper and you are doing the paper. So you either need to be in this slot or else in this slot, right? මම මේ මැද මට එකක් එන්නත් පුළුවන්, බැරි වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්, එහෙම නෑ. You have to be very clear on the very first thing, right? ඔයා ඉස්සරහ ඉගෙන ගන්න ඕනේ where are you, right? So you either be in this slot or this slot. I know majority would be in this slot. හරිනේ? ඒකක් ගන්න බෑ. අද දුන්නත් ඒකක් ගන්න බෑ. Right? Then you need to think, right? Because why are you always critical of this 96 is, right? So 90 to 100 days, right? 90 to 100 days, 100 not 900, 90 to 100. This 90 to 100 days were the most critical days in my life when I did my A-levels. මම A-level කරන කාලෙමයි මේ 90 100 කියන එක තමයි critical ම දවස් 10. Right? Because this is the place where I had this, so it was going like this. Right? මෙහෙම තමයි ගිහින් පාඩම් කරන ඒවා, මේව සම්දි කරන ඒවා ඔක්කොම නිකන් මේ පොඩි නිකන් ඔහේ යනවා, right? පොඩ පාඩම් කරනවා, චුට්ටක් ගානක් හදනවා. Right? It was going like this. But this is the ideal place where I had this spike. Right? Where when it comes to my studying, when it comes to my remembering, my past level practicing, my questioning, everything, right, started in this time frame. Right? So I actually started being around in Jan, right? And I had my exam back in August, right? So මං කරන කාලෙම August වල තමයි exam තිබ්බේ. ඔයාලගේ පොඩ්ඩක් අර COVID එකකින් දැහට මැටුණාට. So this is the most crucial time which would determine whether you are going to jump from here to here or else you are going to be staying in here, right? So may දවස් 10, right, ideally in your life, in your academic life, වෙන දේවල් නෙමෙයි, මේ exam season එකේදී need to be the turnaround point. දැන් අද ඉඳන් දවසට පැය 2 නම් පාඩම් කරේ. අද ඉඳන් හිතන්න, for you might have studied 2 hours 3 hours per day, right? Then you have to have that exponential height spike today, or else this week would be the week where you have this spike, right? Because 90 to 100 is the most crucial, because මෙතනින් යාට මාස 3යි, right? මාස 3යි මොනවා වුණත් මාස 3යි, assuming that we have the exam in November, මාස 3යි, right? So majority of you would be in here. If you are a student who study around 10 to 15 hours per day, then you need to be a student after this who study around 16.5 hours a day, right? ඔය පැය 20 දැන් නම් පැය 6ක් විතර නිදාගත්තට කමක් නැහැ, right? So keep this thing in your mind. With this week is very crucial where you need to have this spike, right? මේ spike එක ගන්න ඕනේ. ගත්තේ නැත්නම් you can't jump from here to here. And also if you are a student in here, හිතන්න එපා bed is smooth කියලා, right? The bed is not smooth. You have to go from here to an A plus, or else this is what an A plus. So what I mean as a plus is a proper rank, right? So majority of you, I want to see you guys being in a state university. Then the rank නැති වෙලා මම COVID කරපින්ද rank කරන්න පල්හැ badges නැහැ නේ, ඒකට rank නැති වෙයි. So I want majority of you to climb into a proper state university. Maybe if possible you are doing commerce, then to Jayawardhanapura or else to Colombo, right? So I want you to go from here to here. So your job is to climb from here to here, right? It's your will, it's your decision whether you are going to be ended up in here or else being ended up in here, right? So what I did and where I was, I actually was in here. Actually I was somewhere in between C to B, or else C එක නේ, එකක වෙලාවට C කියනවා B කියනවා පොඩක් එහෙම පොඩ මැදක හිටියේ, right? මට හිතා ගන්නත් බෑ කොහෙද I was, but I jumped from here to here, right? I had the shortcut, right? It's actually not shortcut, it is also this something like this where I had to climb up the whole way around. So you also can. So keep this thing in your mind. This 96 days is more crucial and critical in your life. So every day you need to count, right? හැමදාම count කරන්න ඕනේ. දවස් කීයද මට තව තියෙන්නේ. දැන් මේ දවස් කීයද තියෙන්නේ කියන count කරන්නේ not to get depressed. මේක දැක්කට පස්සේ අයියෝ අද දවසක් ඉවරයි කියලා අන්හෙට උදේ අඬන්න නෙමෙයි. දවසක් මම ඉවර කරා කියලා. No. Right? You have to be very optimistic. Okay, I have 96 days, still I can do it. But still I can do it කියලා අර කතාවට කියන්නේ ඉල්ලන්නාට දෙනු ලැබෙයි කියලා, right? අපේ මිනිස්සු වැරදියට ගන්න. ඉල්ලුවොත් විතරක් I'll get it. No. You have to work it also so that you get it, right? So ඒකින්ද keep this thing in your mind. 96 is there and still it's enough. Still it's enough. It means still from here to here you can go. බැරි නැහැ. So I බැරි, right? බැරි වෙන හේතුව මොනවාද? එකක් කම්මැලිකම, right? පාඩම් කරන්න බෑ. බෑ කියන mindset එක එන්නේ කොහමද? පොඩ්ඩක් මොනවයි බලනවා. ඊට පස්සේ ඒක තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ, right? Make sense? No? තේරෙන්නේ නැතුව නම් මොකද වෙන්නේ? අපෝ මට බෑ කියලා හිතලා you are going to get down from there. So quick thing is, if you are a student who do not study that much, then start with the most comfortable lesson for you. right ඔයාලට පුළුවන් මේකෙන් පාඩම් ගන්න පටන් ගන්න. හැබැයි එහෙමයි කියලා දවස් තිස්සේම දැන් first lesson එක හැමෝටම පුළුවන් කියලා තනකො first lesson එක මෙලිලා ඉන්න එපා. Right, but you can start with something which is comfortable for you. Then slowly you have to start and you have to jump into the hard part. And again, I told last time also about this forgetting curve, right? So if you want to keep things in a long lasting memory, you need to focus on what? Right, okay, tell me. Mama හැමදාම මේ කියනවනේ. What again? What is the key for success? To learn anything, right? To learn anything, to understand anything, to learn a new language, to learn a new skill, to understood everything, to keep things in your mind. What is the most important thing? මොනවාද මේ master කරන්න ඕනේ? Yes? Yes? What is the key for this success? පොඩි කාලේ ඉඳන්, right? ඔයාලා දැන් drive කරන්න යන තරම් පොඩිනේ. පොඩි කාලේ ඉඳන් කරන දෙයක් කියන්නේ. right? කනවා බොනවා, right? දැන් කනවනේ, right? You eat, right? So when you eat, what හිතලා කරන්න it automatically comes. Why it automatically comes, right? What's the most important word in this world, right? මතක තියාගන්න, not only in A levels but even in the entire life world, right? The most important word to learn anything fastly, right? And to keep things for the long lasting memory, it's what? Right? Yes, concentration matters, but right, to have concentration, right? එකපාර දෙයක් හිතන්නකො, I want to study Chinese, right? දැන් මම චයිනා වලට ගිහිල්ලා චයිනීස් ඉගෙන ගත්තා. එතකොට ඉගෙන ගන්න පට්ට අමාරුයි. You can't concentrate, right? චාව් චූ චූ ගානවා. එතකොට මුකුත් බෑ. ඔළුවට යන්නේම නැහැ. But then to keep concentration, what you could do, right? That is the most important thing is what? Right? Repetition. So I want you to repeat as much as you can within this 96 days, right? First lesson maybe 1,000 times. If you can repeat, yes, it makes sense. Second lesson 1,000 times might be, right? I'm can 1,000 the higher the repetition you have, right? Higher the repetition you have, right? Higher the long lasting memory you have. That is one thing, right? What are there? What is this? Repetition. The repetition කියන ප්‍රශ්නේ මොකද්ද? පට්ට තියෙනවා පොතක්, right? නැත්නම් ටියුට් බරතෝගයක් තියෙනවා. වැල්වට අරන් ඕන තරම් තියෙනවා, right? අපි දන්නේ what is most important. So identify the most important part and then repeat it. That's why short notes and mind map come into play, right? ඒකයි I always teach you with this short notes and mind map, because exam එකට කලින් දවසේ you need to repeat. ඒතර මුළු syllabus එක දවසෙන් කරන්න බෑනේ. But our short notes ටික එක දවසින් වල බලන්න පුළුවන්, right? So one thing is repetition, right? ඔන්නෝක තමයි පළවෙනි දේ. Repetition. This 96 days, right? We have to repeat. So you have to repeat your notes, maybe past papers, maybe MCQs, right? Second part ගොඩක් තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නයක් තමයි second part එකේ. What you can write answers, නේ. උත්තර ලියන්න බෑ. නැත්තම් ප්‍රශ්න දැක්කට පස්සේ උත්තර එන්නේ නැහැ, right? So that again, ඔයාලා මොකද කරන්නේ ළමයි? එහෙන පඬිතයිනේ and කම්මැලිනේ. What you do? ප්‍රශ්න දකිනවා. හරි. දැන් මම කරේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා. past paper එක පෙන්නනවා. ප්‍රශ්න දෙකම ආපහු මේකට උත්තර ලියන්න පුළුවන් කියලා හිතනවා. right? That you think no මමත් ඒ කාලේ කරා. මේක දැක්කට පස්සේ මේකට උත්තරේ මම දන්නවා. මගේ ඔළුවට උත්තරේ එනවා, right? Then what you think? What I did also, you also do the same. මම දන්නවා. ප්‍රශ්න කියවනවා. උත්තර ටික හිතින් හිතා ගන්නවා. past paper එක පෙරලනවා. පෙරලලා බලනවා මම හුතපු උත්තර the answer which I thought, is it right or wrong? Right? ඕකනේ වල කරන්නේ කම්මැලිකමට. But I would say don't do it, right? The other way around is you need to write it, right? Why it says practice make you perfect? Because it's repetition. So one key thing, repetition make you success, right? So 96 days, keep repeat. Second thing on the concentration, right? Right? Concentration කරන්න, I know it's so hard. මං කිව්වා I went to China but still I couldn't concentrate. මට සිංහල කතා කරන්න කට්ටියක් නැහැ, ඉංග්‍රීසි කතා කරන්න කට්ටියක් නැහැ, right? They are only Chinese people, right? So I didn't need to learn, but I can't concentrate, right? It makes sense. ඔයාලට තමයි concentrate කරන්න, right? So how to do concentration? It might be varying from person to person. But to do concentration, right? I did this small thing, right? Small thing. සමහර මිනිස්සු හිතයි ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් too methodical කියලා කියන්නත් පුළුවන්, නැත්නම් චුට්ටක් අර පොඩ්ඩක් අර කියන්නේ පොඩි psycho scene එකක්ද කියලා හිතන්නත් පුළුවන්. But what I did is for concentration, මම කරපු දේ මං කියන්නේ this might work for some, this might not work for some, right? So So what I did for concentration was, right, back then when I did my A-levels, I had a headset. මම ඉතින් ඔයාලටත් දැන් තියෙනවා. දැන් ඒ කාලේ මම A-level කරන කාලේ ළමයි මේ Zoom නම් කරන්නේ නැහැ. Headset දෙකක් තියෙනවා කියන අත කන එක ගහගන්න දෙකක් hands free දෙකක් තියෙනවා කියන ළමයි it's a good thing, right? So what I did is before studying, right, මම පාඩම් කරන්න කලින් ඒ කාලේ ළමයි YouTube නෑ. දැන් YouTube package එකක් දාගත්තම you can get YouTube, right? But back then when I did YouTube, I can't do YouTube. So මම කරන්නේ YouTube එකට ගිහිල්ලා I download the video and I converted into an MP3. හිතන්න මම විදිහට දුකක් ඒ කාලේ, right? So I had a little phone. I keep uploading. ඒක මේ 0000 ගේ මොබන phone එක පොඩි touch එකක් දාලා SD card එකක් ගන්න. So what I did was before starting on it says මම මේක university ගිහිල්ලත් කරා. university ගියාම නම් free wifi ළමයි ඕන තරම් download කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? So what I did is it says our usual heartbeat, right? Concentration comes with your mind, your brain, but it is controlled by your heart, right? Heart එකෙන් pump කරන blood එකෙන් තමයි this starts to work, right? So first thing you need to do is not to concentrate on this, right? To keep this thing in focus. You need to make this at a stable manner. Okay, තමයි පළවෙනි දේ කරන්න ඕනේ. මමත් ඔක පස්සේ තමයි ඉගෙන ගත්තේ theoretically, but මම ඒ කාලේ කරා. මම නොදැනුවත් හරි I did it. So what I did was you can download. දැන් මම YouTube එකට යන්න ඕන YouTube download කරන්න පුළුවන් 60 beats per minute. 60 beats per minute. ඒ කියන්නේ විනාඩියකට ළමයි ඒකේ අර මක් කරේ යාලගේ තියෙන මියුසික් කරන කට්ටිය මම මියුසික් කරලා නැහැ. So 60 beats යනවා, right? මම ඔයාලට ඕන link එකක් දාන්න group එකේ. So when you hear them, right, with a close eye for like විනාඩි දෙක තුනක් අහද්දී that with that music automatically your entire system gets like අර පොඩිනේ අමුතු නිකන් පොඩි අර පොඩි මනෝපාරක් ගන්නවා කියන්නේ, right? So පොඩි මනෝ scene එකකට like comes, right? So it's really good, right? It's really good. It's really relaxing, right? Then what you could do is then you can start. ඊට පස්සේ මම මේක off කරලා ඊට පස්සේ මම usually විදිහට පාඩම් කරන් යනවා. පාඩම් කරන් යද්දී but the other thing what we do is මම මේ මාගේ experience එක කියන්නේ අර අපි කියන්නේ හොඳ දේ ගන්න බැරි දේ ඉතින් we can't do, right? So what else I do is concentration first thing. So I just keep my mind at one place. කොහොමද කරේ? I use music, right? මේ music කියන්නේ මේ hard rock ගහලා කෑ ගහලා metallic කරලා නැතර මේ දවස්වල යන්නේ මේ Bollywood music දාලා එහෙම නෙමෙයි අර වගේ අර Beethoven ගැරි කාගේරි පොඩක් classical theoretical music එකක් අහපම ඒ පොඩි වෙලාවක් අහපම ඒක පටස් දාලා මේක ඔක්කොම heal වෙනවා. Then the second thing is concentration. I'm a person, right? So some of you might know I'm not a nerdy person, right? Most people think that I'm nerdy person. I'm not a nerdy person like most of you think, right? I used to be a sportsman. I used to be active, very active in field. So I can't long last like පැයකට වඩා එක තැන ඉඳන් ඉන්න හරි අමාරුයි. So what I did is I had around 45 to 1 hour gaps where I studied and then I had a little water break and little kind of like I had a then again I keep doing the same thing. So 1 hour, 1.5 put I started to increase the time frame. එකපාර මට පැය දෙක තුන පාඩම් කරන්න බෑ, right? පැයක් විතර පාඩම් කරලා 45 ගන්නවා පොඩි break එකක් කියන්නේ මේ social media break එකක් නෙමෙයි. ඒකට ගියාම ආන්නේ නැහනේ. I චූටි යනවා, right? So with the time I had automatically I have a timetable. මම timetable එකක් නැහැ. උදේ නැගිටින්න හැමදාම නිකම් වෙලාවකට. It went like a kind of a practice. අර කියන්නේ පොඩි භාවනාවක්, පොඩි meditation එකක් වගේ it went. So what I would suggest you is if you can't concentrate for a longer time, start small. Maybe 30 minutes. එක දිගට concentrate කරන්න. Then try to day on day or else like පොඩ try to increase your concentration. හැබැයි ඔයාලට තේරෙනවා ළමයි concentration එක loss කියලා. Then what I would do is stop it. බොරුවට නිකන් පුටු රත් කර ඉන්න එපා, right? පුටු රත් කර ඉන්න එපා. If you feel like concentration is gone, then stop it, right? Stop කරලා look ආයෙ Beethoven ගේ music දාගත්තා, ආයෙ පොඩ්ඩක් relax කරගත්තා, then start again. Then your work would be very easy, right? Concentration එක හදාගන්න එහෙමයි. So with the time it will automatically come. අපිට එකපාර concentration එක කඩෙන් ගන්න බෑ. සල්ලි ගියක් හරි දීලා කඩෙන් ගන්න බෑ. You have to develop, right? ඊට පස්සේ when you master it ඊට පස්සේ ළමයි පැත්තෙන් පිටිපස්සේ උන් කෑ ගැහුවා TV එක ගෙදර කට්ටිය TV බැලුවත් you can study, right? That's happened, right? So you have to hack this brain. So those are the two important things which I wanted to give you because in my life these 96 days changed my entire life, right? අද මම ඔයාලගේ ඉස්සරහා මෙතන මෙහෙම ඉන්නේ because of this 90 days or as I would say 90 days. ඔයාලට තව දවස් 6කුත් තියෙනවා, right? So you can have a typical turnaround in this life. You can be here and you can jump off to here. You simply need but repetition and concentration, right? ඔය දෙක හදාගත්තොත්, right, you can do a lot. And ඔයාලට තේරෙනවා නම් subject matter එක මට තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ, මට චුට්ටක් connect dots එක connect කරගන්න අමාරුයි කියලා, right? ඒකට තමයි මේ classes අනමනම් තියෙන්නේ. But still I would say repeat කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් කොච්චර අපිට තේරුම් ගන්න බෑ කිව්ව දෙයක් වුණත් you can තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඔයාට කියවලා තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන්. ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ මොකද්ද? You give up from your mind මට මේක තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. Right? And also my WhatsApp is always free, right? ඔයාලා හැම ප්‍රශ්නෙටම මම 99.9% I'm giving answers, right? So you can still do the same, right? හරි, ඔනෝක තමයි පොඩි opening බණක් දුන්නේ, right? Because in my life this 96 changed a lot, right? මම ඊට පස්සේ යුනිවර්සිටි ගියා, මම අයිලන්ඩ් රැන්ක් එකක් දැම්මා, යුනිවර්සිටි ගියා, යුනිවර්සිටි එකේ ෆස්ට් ක්ලාස් ගත්තා, මාස්ටර්ස් කරා, මාස්ටර්ස් එක හොඳට කරා, දැන් I'm working full time. I used to be a lecturer. ඊට පස්සේ මම lecturing පොඩ්ඩක් නවත්තලා, මට මොකද දවස් 7ම ගන්නන්න පොඩ්ඩක් අමාරුයි. So I quit lecturing and then I jump into corporates, then management trainees, then like it goes, right? So come because of this 96 days. This 96 days would also change your life, right? Trust me, it would change your life. You just need but focus, right? Harita focus karanna. This is your dream, right? This is your dream. If you see it by your mind, you would touch it by your hand one day, right? ඔයාලා ගොඩක් තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න වල මෙතනින් හිතන්නේ නැහැ, right? මෙතනින් දැක්කොත්, if you see it by your mind, trust me, you would touch it by your hand. That is the final message for the class. Right, let's start things on from the place where we stopped. Sorry. So today in Money and Banking Lamai, so as I put in the group also, we'll be discussing primarily on money creation part. But then I felt and I saw that there were a couple of questions and issues, not issues rather, but couple of questions that came from your end, telling that you have couple of concerns about this inflation part, right? මම එක පොඩක් ස්පීඩ් දාන්න හිටියේ පස්සේ money and money creation කියන එක අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම එක්සෑම් එකට අහනවානේ. ඒක හින්දා, so what I thought was, if time permits, I'll jump into money creation today. But if time not permits, then from our paper class, මම විතර money creation එකේ කොහොමද question එකක් දානවානේ. Question එක දැම්මට පස්සේ මට ඒකෙන් explain කරන්නත් පුළුවන්, right? So if time permits, let's see how we can work around, right? So right now, so far we have discussed about the first part about money, right? Then money supply, money demand, high power money multiplier. Those part we discussed. And pricing, price index කියන එක මම විදිහට touch කරන්නේ නැහැ because ඒකේ ගොඩාක් ලොකු දේවල් නැති හින්දා මම ඒක paper එකේ touch කරන්න. Today we will jump into something very detailed, that is all this pricing. Where we're going to start with general price level and all, right? Okay. So when it comes to first thing first, price. So when we talk on prices, we have basically three terms, right? Pricing gattam, we have three terms, right? What are the three pricings we can find? This is not basic price, producer price, ඒවා නෙමෙයි. ඒ ඇවිල්ලා national accounting මටලා ගන්න එපා. What is the three types of prices we could find? Yes, අපි දැන් කතා කරන prices කියලා කතා කරද්දී මේව තමයි තියෙන්නේ. මොනවද තියෙන්නේ? Right? So we have absolute prices. මේවා තියෙනව නේද? Right? No, it is not inflation. It starts with absolute prices. Then we have relative price. Then we have general price. Right? So what do you mean by absolute price? A very simple answer, right? Right? So absolute price is, assume 1 kilogram of rice is 100 rupees. 10 rupees but it's 100 rupees. Then 1 kilogram of potato, right? Maybe 80 rupees. This is absolute, right? This is absolute. 80, 60, 90, it goes like this. 1 kilogram එකක් මෙච්චරයි. එක හා දැන් මේ දවස්වල gas ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවනේ, gas cylinder 1005. මම දන්නේ පාන් රාත්තලක් කියන. පාන් රාත්තලක් around 65, right? 70 75 ට වෙලාවක් තියෙනවා සමහර තැන්වල, right? So that loaf of bread. So that is absolute prices. What do you mean by relative prices? It means price of 1 kilogram of rice would equal to, right? Simply like හිතන්නකෝ එක rice kilogram එකක් 100යි potato kilogram එකක් 800යි, right? So you can buy අපි ගමු අනිත් පැත්තට ගමු, so that numbers would be easy, right? Price of 1 kilogram of potato would be the price of not 1 kilogram, right? It's around 0.8 kilograms of rice, right? So it is simple, right? Make a channel relatively, right? Absolute can fix, relatively can make a compare. But the most important part for us is not these two, it is this part, which is called the general price, right? So what do you mean by general price? Is simply the average price in the market, right? What do you mean by general price? It is the average price in the market for a time period. අපි දන්නේ කොච්චර කාලයක් කියලා, but for a given time period, it is the average price in the market. Now I have a question. Tell me whether it is true or false, or else whether it is inflation or deflation, right? You know the inflation part. Right. 1 kilogram of rice, it was 100 today. අපි ගමු 2020 කියලා, right? Now it's jumped up to 2021 into 200. Is this inflation or not? This is 1 kilogram of rice. What we know. Is this inflation or not? 100 and 200 වැඩි වුණා. Is this inflation or not? ළමයි නිතිද? Right? Is this inflation? Yes or no? It has jumped from 100 to 200. This is 1 kilogram of rice. Yes? Answers please. What do you think? Yeah, I'm getting answers. Okay, I'm getting both the answers. Yes or no? But majority says it's yes. This is not inflation. Right? Why it is not inflation? Because 1 kilogram of rice, right? This reflects your absolute prices. ඒ කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? rice වල හාල් වල price එක වැඩි වෙනවා. That is not inflation because that reflects your absolute prices. But if I call you that the entire market price has increased from entire market average price. Average price has increased from 100 to 200. Right? Now what? Now this is called inflation. Why it is? Because we use average price of the market. That is called general price table. So inflation කියන ළමයි මේ එක product එක price එක වැඩි වෙනවා කියන්නේ inflation නෙමෙයි. මේ ඔක්කොම වැඩි වෙනවා තමයි inflation. Now the problem comes how you find average prices. Average prices කොහොමද හොයාගන්නේ? For this only we use the concept called what? Price index. ප්‍රශ්නයක් ආව නැද්ද? ඇයි අපි price index කියලා හදන්නේ? Right? Why we make price indexes? Because simply due to this entire scenario, අපිට එක price එකක් විතරක් ගන්න බෑ. So we are going to make a price index. How do you simply make a price index? You are going to take the most convenient and most frequent යන goods ටික එකතු කරගන්නවා. You are preparing a basket, and while preparing the basket, what you are going to do? You are going to take this average price. That is in a simple nutshell called price index. Right? So keep this thing in your mind. This is not inflation, na? හාල් වල ගණන් වැඩි වෙනවා කියන එක inflation නෙමෙයි. හැබැයි average ඔක්කොගෙම වගේ වැඩි වෙලා තියෙනවා නම් that is called what? That is called inflation. හරි. Tell me what are the types of pricing indexes you can see in the current context in Sri Lanka? ලංකාව මොනවද දැන් තියෙන ළමයි price indexes? Yes, we have what? New Colombo Consumer Price Index, right? Then we have what usual consumer price index also we have. Right? New Colombo price index we have what? Consumer price index we have. What more we have? Someone ask you. So basically this is national, consumer price index and national national consumer price index, right? Then what you have? We have what? Producer price index. Right? And last we have what? The GDP deflator, or else the implicit price index, or else GDP deflator, right? So I'm not going detail into this. About the wholesale price index. Actually, wholesale price index now we are not using, right? Wholesale price index is now we are not using. Instead of that, what we are going to use? Tell me, instead of wholesale price index, what do we use? Right? Wholesale price index then පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ ඒක outdated concept එකක්. ඒක මම ඉගෙන ගන්න කාලේ ඉන්නේ wholesale කියලා. දැන් ඒක නැහැ. දැන් මොකද තියෙන්නේ? Now you have what? Now you have producer price index. ඉස්සර ඉතින් මේක wholesale කියලා. Right? මේක outdated නා. කවුරුහරි මේක ඉගෙන ගත්තා නම් syllabus එකෙන් මතක තියාගන්න this is outdated, right? අර syllabus turn එකෙන් වෙනස් කරපු part එකක්. Wholesale price index කියන එක අයින් කරා because ඒක දැන් පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ නැහැ. We are using it as producer price index. ඒක අපි obsolete කියලා ගන්න. Right? ඒකෙන් මේක මතක තියාගන්න පොඩ්ඩක් ඔළුවේ. So I'll tell you what you need to keep in mind when it comes to exam. When it comes to exam, මතක තියාගන්න, you are not going to talk that detail about these things. මේවා ගැන මේ කෙලින්ම අහන්නේ අරක මොකද්ද මේක මොකද්ද මේක වෙනස මොකද්ද එච්චර detail එකක් නැහැ. But you need to have some sort of an idea about what this means. Because by any chance, if the examiner can ask you to write it just short note. What is short note? Now the point is, when it comes to a short note, you need to keep a couple of things in your mind. The first thing you need to keep in your mind is the base year. Second is about the goods basket. Third thing is about the region. Right? පළවෙනි එක මොකද්ද? base year එක. Right? If you want to have a little note, exam එකේ මොනවද අහන්නේ කියලා exam එකේ මොනවද ලියන්න ඕනද? පළවෙනි එක about the base year. මේක අනිවාර්යෙන්ම ඕනේ. Base year. Second is about the basket of goods. අතට තියාගෙන ඉන්න. මේක මොනවද තියෙන්නේ? මේක petrol තියනවද? diesel තියනවද? Right? Cement තියනවද? What you have, you need to keep in mind. And the next one is about the region. අපි කියන්නේ price collection centers කියලා මතකද? Right? Is it only Colombo or else deep into Colombo or else දෙහිවල මොරටුව ඒවත් ගන්නවද? About the region or else price collection centers. And the last one would be any special thing, right? මක්කන් special එකක් තියෙනවා. Right? මෙන්න මේ හතර ලියන්න පුළුවන් නම් ළමයි you can score full marks, right? මේ හතර දරන් ඉන්න ඕනේ මොනවද ලියන්නේ? And any special thing කියලා මේ වගේ එකක්. දැන් producer price index එක ගැන අහුවොත් ඔයාලට කියන්න පුළුවන්. ඉස්සර තිබ්බ wholesale price index ඒක දැන් අපි කියන එක obsolete වෙනවා, outdated වෙනවා. And now we do have this producer price index, right? ඔන්න ඔය part එක තමයි කියන්නේ. What is basket? Basket means basket of goods, basket of goods. ඒ කියන්නේ good එක කියන්නේ අපි ගන්න බඩු basket එක අස්සේ what do we have? Like for simple example, හැම එකෙම තියෙනවා ගන්න දේවල් තියෙනවා ගන්න නැති දේවල් තියෙනවා. Like for example, alcohol, tobacco, narcotics, we do include, right? So that's one important thing. And some do not use petrol, diesel ඒව use කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ වගේ පොඩි පොඩි ups and downs තියෙනවා. චුට්ටක් දැනගෙන ඉන්න. What is being included in your basket? Right? Goods basket එකේ මොනවද තියෙන්නේ කියලා. Right? Hari, so මේක දන්නවා නම් you can score full marks from your price. And the next part is calculation of price index. Okay, MCQs වලට තමයි යන්නේ. Right, මේක MCQ parts කොතනද දෙන්නේ? Right. Where how to calculate the price index. මතකයි නේද? අර පොඩි එහෙම මෙහෙම දින මෙතනින් price index එක හොයන්න ඕන, base එකක් දෙනවා, base එක identify කරගන්නේ කොහොමද? අර චූටි පොඩි mathematical part එකක් we have. So මේ mathematical part එක definitely we need to discuss through a question. So in the paper class we'll be discussing the MCQ version of price index, how to calculate price index and all this little stuff, right? Right, good to go. Right. Okay, so we'll be jumping on to inflation, right? Because this is inflation, we are going to jump into inflation. But if you really want to have any note, then feel free to have a note. Rather note එක ලියලා ඉන්න වෙලා නැහැ නම snap එකක් ගන්න පස්සේ ඔක complete කරගන්න, right? Because you have 96 days and you have what 24 hours per day and you still have time to write this again. දැන් හිතන්නකෝ දැන් මේක snap එකක් කරගෙන ඕක තියාගෙන ඕකම ආයෙ කොලේක ලියනවා කියන ළමයි එතනත් වෙන repetition. අරක බලන් අර ලස්සනට ලියනවා නම් right. හැබැයි ලියන ගමන් මේක මම කියපු ස්ටෝරි එකම ඔයාලා මට ආයෙත් කියනවා නම් right. අර කියන්නේ පාඩම් කරන්න තියෙන හොඳම ක්‍රමය තමයි උගන්වන එක. Right, if you can teach yourself the same thing which I interpret in here, then it's clear cut obvious that you will get this one done. හරි ඕනනම් පොඩි snap එකක් දාන්න. දා ගන්න රාද. Right? Okay. Now let's jump into the other part. Hi. And cover an exam why we use a price index? Why do we need a price index? You need to know how to bridge that. What the price index average price price index general price context, right? Connect now tell me, when it comes to average prices or general prices, we have again 3 types of price changes. Right? මොනවාද මේ තුන? කියන්න බලන්න. Right? What do we have? What are the 3 types of prices or as average price changes? ना මෙතන ඇත්තටම පොඩි change එකක් ගැන කතා කරන්නේ. Right? What are the 3 types of average price changes or general price changes? They can change with the අපි කියනවා මේ change මෙහෙම change වුණොත් මේක මේකක්. මේක මේ විදිහට change වුණොත් මේක මේකක්. මේක මේ විදිහට change වුණොත් it's going to be something like this. What are the 3? මේ ඔයාලා දන්නවා හරිද? Yes, right? So we have 3 concepts. One is what? Simple inflation. Next one is what? Is deflation. And the last one is inflation. Right. Now you need to know clearly what do you mean by inflation, right? Very simple. What do you mean by inflation? It is the continuous what? Continuous increase in general price level. හැමදාටම නැහැ for a given period of time, right? Continuous increase in general price level and time frame in a given time. This is called what? Inflation. හරි නේද? So for a simple example, what would happen? 2020, 2021 and 2019. Right? Now we are assuming general prices. අපි දැන් general prices කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? අපි ගන්න මොකද්ද? Because of instead of general prices we take price index, right? We take price index. Now it was assuming it was at 100. Now it has been 110 and it has become 150. Right? This is called inflation. Right? The next one is deflation. What is deflation? The opposite way around. Continuous decrease in general price level, right, in a given period of time. What do you got? So again, the same example, 2019, 2020, and 2021. Price index, it was at 100, it slightly came to 90 and then to 50. This is called what? Deflation. So make a continuous increase. Make a continuous decrease. The last one is what? Disinflation. Disinflation is what? Right. What do you mean by disinflation? The examining how are we really going to differentiate deflation and disinflation? What do you mean by disinflation? What do you mean by disinflation? Yes, please. You are going to type. Again what? Again repetition, right? So give me answers. Right? Try to right? It's a matter of seconds, right? What is if you can type an answer, it means you are so good with your knowledge, right? So type an answer. So when I see the number or when I see the answer, I would read the answer and I can give you what? Right? I can give you insights. Master right? I don't want that to happen. I want everyone to get for A pluses, right? Okay. Right, okay, I have get a point. Tell me, gradual decrease in general price level. Gradual decrease in general price level. Is it disinflation? Gradual decrease of general price level. Is it inflation or not? Gradual decrease of general price level. Eka inflation da nadda lamai. Isla mata ekyanne. Mata ehema ekak dekak me ase aawa. Hari. Eka වැරදි. Gradual decrease in general price level would be ideally deflation. Look, price has come down. But what do you mean by inflation? Is the mama high definition nakena mata කියන හරිද වැරදිද ඒක. Gradual decrease of inflation rate. Is it right or wrong? Right or wrong? Gradual decrease of general price level. Sorry, gradual decrease of inflation rate. That is the simplest way that you can say. But continuous, again, it have to be continuous. හරිද මේක අවුරුද්දක් විතරක් වුණොත් වැරදි. දැන් හිතන්න මේක ඔයාලා exam එක හැමලි කමුද මේක විතරක් ගන්න. 2019 and 2020. If it is only for those 2 years, this is not inflation. හරිද? අවුරුදු දෙකක් විතරක් වුණා කියන එක inflation නෙමෙයි. It have to be at least like more than 2. Because look, මේක විතරක් වැඩි කරලා මේ ඔක්කොම අඩු වුණොත් මොකද වෙන්නේ? No, it have to be continuous. How to find continuous? At least අපි exam එකේදී මතක තියාගන්න example එකක් ලියනවනම් අවුරුදු 3ක්වත් use කරන්න, right? දෙකක් use කරන්න එපා. දෙකක් කරොත් වැරදි. Why? This is not continuous. This is might be a one time thing. But when you have 3, it might be continuous, right? So try to get 3. Okay. Continuous decrease or a gradual decrease. You can see, right? Continuous gradual decrease in not general price, in inflation. Right? It is not interest rate. Interest rate. Right? Decrease in inflation rate. Huh? That's why interest rate interest rate. So what will happen now? Price index, it was 100, right? Now what would happen? From 100, it has increased up to 150. Now the next year, it becomes 160. This is still what? This is still inflation, but we have a very limited amount of inflation happening. That is why we call it as disinflation. Hari neda? Hari. Now, most important part is inflation rate. Hari. Now we are going to jump into something very crucial and critical, which is about the inflation, right? මම ඒකින්ද ළමයි inflation කියන එක වෙනතර මම space තියනවා. මම මේ ටික පොඩ wipe කරනවා. Right? So let's take continuous increase in the general price level at a decreasing rate. Still, it's all fine. Right? So who is this? Ivangino? Right, yes. It's also right, right? You can also call this one what? Continuous increase in general price level at a decreasing rate. Another continuous increase in general price level, can inflation at a decreasing rate. Ekats hariya, වැරදි නෑ. අර ඉතින් අපි අර කියන්නේ මේ if you want to write it like that way, you can feel free to write that way. Always keep this thing in your mind. It ඔහොම ලියනවා නම් then නවත්තන්න එපා continuous increase in general price level කියලා. මොකද හදිස්සියට කලබල වෙලා ඉතින් නැවතුත් answer would be wrong. Right? ඒකෙන්ද keep this thing in your mind. හරි. That answer is good. right කරද්දක් නෑ. Now let's see. Inflation in the bigger case. Right. Harry, now tell me, what are the reasons for inflation? What are the reasons for inflation? අපි දැන් inflation reasons කතා කරනවා. ඊට පස්සේ ඒක කොහොමද cope up කරගන්නේ කියලා කතා කරනවා. Right? කියන්නේ what are the reasons for inflation? Yes, what are the reasons for inflation? I'm not asking what are the consequences. හරිද? කෙනෙක්ට අහන්න පුළුවන් consequences. Consequences නෙමෙයි I'm asking the reason. The reasons for inflation. What are the reasons for inflation? දැන් මේක ළමයි මෙහෙම කියද්දි වලට ඔයවට එන්නේ නැත්තම් reasons මොනවාද? Consequences මොනවාද? ඉන්නේ නැත්තම් ඒ මොකද? That is because ඔයා දන්නවා but හරියට දන්නේ නැහැ. So you need to be very concrete on the things you know. කොහොමද again මට කියන්න කොහොමද දෙයක් concrete කරගන්නේ? right? ඉතින් ඒක යනවා. tell me. ඔයා දන්න දෙයක් concrete කරගන්න කොහොමද? ඒ කියන්නේ sure එකටම දන්නවා කියලා confirm කරගන්න කොහොමද? right? ඒක make sure කරගන්නේ with what? Yes. With what? ඔයා දන්න දෙයක් හොඳටම දන්නවා කියලා concrete කරගන්නේ කොහොමද? With repetition, right? With අපි දන්න දෙයක් දැන් හිතන්නකෝ බොරුවක් වුණත් ඇත්තක් වෙනවා කියනනේ ළමයි. Have you heard this concept, right? Even a lie becomes truth, right? How it becomes truth? Due to repetition. හැමෝම කියන්න ගත්තාම it becomes truth. අර වර්ණපාල තියෙන එක අහලා තියෙනවද? නෑනේ. එතන වෙලා නැත්තම කියලා දෙනවා. වර්ණපාල theory. It's also kind of repetition. So වර්ණපාල theory comes in universities. University ගියාම you have all this kind of coco things, no? Right? ඒකේ තිබ්බ story එකක් තියෙනවා. වර්ණපාල theory එක. Right? So it's repetition. Again repetition. Na? හැමෝම කියන්නේ ඒක උනේ පොඩි වර්ණපාලෙ මම short and sweet කියන වර්ණපාල කියන කොල්ලෙක් හිටියා. There was a superior ලස්සන කෙල්ලෙක්, but that guy is super කැතයි. Right? So what he wants to do is he wanted to get used with right? Get her and make it in a relationship. Right? ඕක තමයි වෙන්නේ. Right? What would happen is කෙල්ල කැමති නැහැ. So what වර්ණපාල did is කෙල්ලයි like with her friends, right? University එක මාර ආතල් ළමයි මාර free, right? So එහෙම යද්දි මෙයා ගස් වල හැංගිලා කරලා like he calls his name වර්ණපාල කියලා match make කරන්න යනවා විහිළු කරලා. So එහෙම විහිළු කරද්දි what he did is like යාගේ යාළුවන්ව set කරගෙන ගිහුවම ඔබලා ගිහිල්ලා කියපාර girl යනවා අතනින්, right? අතනින් යද්දි පොඩක් කියන වර්ණපාල කියලා බලලා විහිළු කරා. So what happened was his friends also get together. ඊට පස්සේ ගිහිල්ලා වර්ණපාල. Then what happened is that girls friends were like, who is Varnapala? What happened is that girls also try to mock that girl with Varnapala. Eventually what happened? Repetition was the master, right? Everyone in the university was not kidding, but was thinking that girl is Varnapala's girlfriend, right? What happened eventually is Varnapala got her hand, right? So that's the Varnapala theory in university and in love making, right? So the same thing happens. Repetition is the key. හැමදේම ආයෙ අර මතුරන් ජප කරන්න කියන්නේ, right? That's why we used to call this. Okay, coming to the point. Inflation, two reasons. Yes, what are they? Demand pull and cost push. Right? What is demand pull and cost push? So cost push, I'll keep it for the time being, and I'll be discussing on demand pull, right? On demand pull එක ගැන කතා කරන්න. So in general terms, Samay, what do you mean by demand pull? Is that what? Demand pull. Demand pull. Tell me, what do you mean by demand pull? Is it demand increasing inflation, or is it the result of demand increasing inflation, or is demand decrease fetching the inflation? What's the right one? Right? Demand pull කියන්නේ price එක, right? Demand එක වැඩි වෙච්ච හින්දා price increase වුණාද, or is demand එක අඩු වෙච්ච හින්දා price increase වුණාද? What's the right one? Right. So again, this demand have to be what? Usual product demand or else aggregate demand. What is the එකක් කියන්නකෝ? Yes, it is what? It is increase in demand. Demand එක වැඩි වෙන්න ඕන. But again, this is what? Usual demand or aggregate demand? Right. Again, good, huh? It have to be aggregate. Why we take it aggregate? Because what? It is what? It is the general price. අපි usual demand කිව්වොත් මොකක්ද? ඒ කියන්නේ එක product එකක්. එක product එක price එක වැඩි වෙන එකට අපි කියන්නේ demand pull inflation කියලා. That might be what? Demand pull price change. But inflation now it have to be general price. So in that context, can you do the demand pull inflation like this? So P1 to P2, it has increased. Can you draw the curve like this and reflect this is demand pull inflation? Yes or no? අපිට මේ පෙන්වන්න පුළුවන්ද ළමයි? මේක මෙහෙම වැඩි වුණා. This is demand pull. Demand එක වැඩි වුණා, price එක වැඩි වුණා. Can we call it like that way? Yes or no? Be very concrete with your idea. හවුද නැද්ද? වරදින් හරි කියන්න. Can it be or can't it? මේක මෙහෙම වෙන්න පුළුවන්ද? Demand pull. Yes or no? Right? හරි. So the people who say no, why tell me it is no? ඇයි අපි මේක මෙහෙම use කරන්න බැරි? Yes, people who say no, why you say we can't use it like this? Right? Any answer? Why you can't? Actually, Ramai, basically, at your level, සමහර වෙලාවට ඔයාලා මෙහෙම ඇඳමත් ලකුණු දෙනවා. ලකුණු දෙන්නේ නැතුව ඉන්නේ අපි කියන්නේ අර අනුකම්පා සහගත ලකුණු, sympathy ලකුණු, right? You still get sympathy ලකුණු when you do like this. But in real economic terms, you can't do like this. Why? This reflects the market usual individual market demand. The market demand and supply is මෙහෙම දෙන්නේ. Right? You always need to focus one thing, right? That is what? Demand pull is what? The price, general price increment, right? Due to what? Due to aggregate demand increase. Aggregate demand increase වෙන හින්දා තමයි usually demand pull කියන්නේ. Now I have another concern. That another concern is, assume your aggregate demand increased by 20%. The aggregate demand has increased by 20%. Meanwhile, your aggregate supply has increased by 10%. Make it 20% වැඩි වෙනවා, aggregate supply එකත් ඒත් එක්කම 10% වැඩි වෙනවා. We know aggregate supply වැඩි කරපුවම ඒක 50ට යනවා. Is this still demand pull inflation or not? Can we call this one as demand pull inflation or not? What do you think? aggregate demand එකත් වැඩි වුණා. හරි. හැබැයි supply එකත් වැඩි වෙනවා. Can we call it or not? Hi. Right? What if aggregate supply increased by 30%, 30 or 40%? If this happens, can we call this one as demand pull inflation? Can we call like this demand pull inflation? Now, yes, Lamai. Now we can't call this, right? අපිට දැන් කතා කරන්න බෑ. කියන්නේ හිතන්න එපා හැම වෙලෙම මේ demand pull කොම aggregate supply එක වෙනස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. Aggregate supply sometimes can change, but in that context, actually your demand portion, the change of your demand have to be larger. ඒක මතක තියාගන්න. කොහෙවත් කියලානේ aggregate demand එක විතරක් වෙනස් වෙන්න ඕනේ කියලා at a given time. We assume that at a given time other things are remain constant, but sometimes this also can be what demand pull inflation, right? Okay. So in simple terms, this is demand pull inflation, but the general price increment as a result of aggregate demand increase. Now tell me, what are the approaches you use, right, to prove this concept? Make a proof කරන්න use කරන approaches මොනවද? General price එක වැඩි වෙනවා කියලා prove කරන්න පුළුවන් approaches මොනවද? Approaches we have basically two. Yes, what are they? What are the two approaches or else theories behind this where we can prove that okay, look here, this is happening like this. Yes. What are the two? Yes, we have two approaches. One is what? One is quantity theory of money. And the Keynesian approach. Right? Quantity theory of money and Keynesian approach. Hi. අපි මේකෙන් යන්න ළමයි ලේසි එකට මුලින්. හරිද? ඊට පස්සේ අමාරුවට යන්න. ලේසි එක තමයි මොකක්ද? Quantity Keynesian approach. Okay, tell me, what does Keynesian approach says about demand pull inflation? මොකක්ද ඒක කියන්නේ? What does Keynesian approach says? මොකක්ද Keynesian approach එක specifically කියන්නේ about demand pull inflation? මොකක්ද කියන්නේ? Demand එක වැඩි වෙන හැම වෙලාවෙම මම හොඳට මට උත්තර දෙන්න, right? In Keynesian approach, does Keynes say when your aggregate demand increase, your price increase? Keynes ඒකද කිව්වේ නැත්නම් වෙන එකක්ද කිව්වේ? Yes or no? This Keynes said, or rather he interpret that when aggregate demand increase, general price increase කියන එක දෙයක් කිව්වේ නැත්නම් වෙන එකක්ද කිව්වේ? මොකක්ද දෙයක් කිව්වේ? අපි දන්නවා, right? In case not Keynes, අපි දන්නවා Keynes aggregate demand and supply equation මේ ගත්තම it goes like this නේ. Sorry. Right? So what he said is basically මොකද ළමයි? Right? එයා QA මට කියන්නේ හැම වෙලාවෙම aggregate demand එක වැඩි වෙද්දී general price එක වැඩි වෙනවද නැද්ද? Tell me, aggregate demand එක වැඩි වෙන හැම වෙලාවෙදිම will the general price increase or not? Yes or no? Will your general price will what go up when your aggregate demand increase all the time. හැම වෙලාවෙම aggregate demand එක වැඩි වෙනවා. aggregate demand එක වැඩි වෙන හැම වෙලාවෙම will there be a price hike? Yes or no? Alama, yes or no? Okay, people, there are a couple of people who say no. Tell me at which position, at which place does the aggregate demand would still increase, but there is no price change. Or else up to which point? Right, is this Rumini? Okay, I have found the perfect answer. Right. So we have found the perfect answer, yes, Rumini. Right? So what? Now my mother up to a certain extent, right? Your Y1, right? Your Y1 reflects what? Your full employment equilibrium or else full employment output level. Again, point full employment output level. Full employment output level like a value would not, right? So if it is going like this, look, AD 1, 2, 3. Look at this place. Look, almost the same. Eh? AD 1 and AD 2. Though it is Y0, look, the price is still the same. So keep this thing in your mind. What Keynes said, right? What Keynes said is, after passing when aggregate demand and supply, right? Take a point again, you are achieving your full employment macroeconomic equilibrium. Achieving a harder, if your aggregate demand starts to increase, right? Look, now you have price hike. Up to this point, right? No inflation. Up to this point, what is that? No inflation. And the inflation pattern කොහොමද? මෙතනින් පස්සේ. මෙතනින් එහාට, right? If your aggregate demand increase, then you have inflation. Hari? ඕක මතක තියාගන්න. මම හිතන්නේ මම national accounting macroeconomic equilibrium එක කියලා දුන්නා. The difference between macroeconomic equilibrium and full employment equilibrium, right? So actually, Rumi, you have a slight change where after the economy reach macroeconomic full employment equilibrium, because at this point also you have an equilibrium. Right? Look, aggregate demand equals aggregate supply. At this point also you have an equilibrium. But the point is what? Full employment. Because after the full employment, what? You don't have goods to supply. So that's why your price level going up. හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න Keynesian approach එකේ කියන්නේ මේ demand එක වැඩි වෙන හැම වෙලාවෙම price එක up වෙනවා කියලා. No. Up to a certain extent. What is that extent? That extent is your full employment output level. ඉතින් එහාට නම් make sense no. ඉතින් එහාට what produce කරන්න බෑ. That's why your prices go up, right? And ඕක තමයි you need to explain using your Keynesian approach, right? So what does right? Okay, so yes, prices would go here and there, but according to theory, right? According to theory, not all the time it goes, because theoretically, right? Theoretically, if you grow your aggregate supply, right? Theoretically, it goes like this now. This is your aggregate supply curve theoretically. In the short run, until you achieve full employment, right? Your prices are sticky, right? This is my usual context. මේ මෙතනට වෙනකම් අපි අර short term full employment equilibrium එක achieve වෙනකන් your prices are sticky. වෙනස් වෙන්නේම නැහැ. මම හිතනවා මම එක්ස්ප්ලেইন කරා කොහොමද මේක ආවේ කියලා නේ. short run aggregate supply curve, long run aggregate supply curve. When you amalgamate these two, it comes like this, right? And after a certain point it goes like this, right? Make it. So theoretically what Keynes said, right, you have to focus, right? Yes, your inflation would go up, but more than the full employment equilibrium, because theoretically mathematically and practical ගත්තම yes කියන්න පුළුවන් කෙනෙක්ට prices up වෙනවා කියලා, but right, theoretically Keynesian approach එකෙන් මොකක්ද කියන්නේ? එයා theoretically කියන්නේ that full employment එක වෙනකම් කිසි අවුලක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. එතනින් එහාට තමයි the inflation starts to come into play. ඕක තමයි theoretical being එක. ඒකින්ද හරියට දැනන් ඉන්න. So if you need a definition, you can call what? If aggregate demand, right? If aggregate demand increase more than the full employment equilibrium. If the aggregate demand increase more than the full employment equilibrium, then there would be a general price level increment, which would be the demand pull inflation. Okay, තමයි Keynesian approach එකේ demand pull inflation එක කියන්නේ. හරිද? හරි. Okay, the next one is, right, quantity theory of money, right? Again, make one for note පල්ලෙන් දාගන්න මම කිව්ව definition එක. If your aggregate demand increase above or else after your full employment equilibrium, then your price level increase, which is called as demand pull inflation under Keynesian approach, right? Okay, මම කියන්නේ ළමයි definition එක එහාට මෙහාට කරන්න පුළුවන් ඔයාලට. ඔයාලා ඉංග්‍රීසි දන්නවනේ. concept එක ඔලුවට දාගන්න. ඒක බේස් කරන් answer කරගන්න. හරි? Okay. The next one is quantity theory of money. හරි. Now tell me, what do you mean by quantity theory of money? What do you mean by quantity theory of money? මොකක්ද මේ quantity theory of money කියන්නේ? Right. Okay, I've got a couple of answers. What are the theme නැතිකට ඉන්න. Okay, quantity theory of money. Okay. Okay, I'll tell you a couple of things. මට ඔයාලා කියන්නේ හරි උත්තරේ මොකක්ද වැරදි උත්තරේ මොකක්ද? Right? I'll take the simple concepts or simple definitions you give me. Right? Quantity theory of money suggests that first one, පළවෙනි එක ඔයාලා මට දීලා තියෙනවා. First one is there is a positive relationship. Positive or else something about a notation within can නැත්නම් space එක මදි. Yes, so තමයි මට අර ප්‍රශ්න. Quantity theory of money, right? Positive relationship between money supply, and අපි ගමු general price level. This is first one. මේ පළවෙනි එක. දෙවෙනි එක තමයි there is a proportionate positive relationship between money supply and general price level. This is the second one. Third one is මේක මේ විදිහටම කියනවා plus when velocity and the transactions are held constant. දැන් මේ මට ආපු උත්තර තුනක් හා. හරි. Tell me what is the right answer? What is quantity theory of money? Right? Velocity of money circulation and transactions. What is the right answer? Is it first one, second one, or third one? බලමු මොනවද ඔයාලා කියන්නේ කියලා බලන්න. Is it first one, second one, or third one? මොකක්ද right answer එක? නැත්නම් තුනම හරියද? All of the above. All of the given නා. All of the above නම් fourth එක දාන්න. Yes, what do you think? What do you think? What is the right one? කොළමයි උත්තර නැද්ද? නැත්නම් අතරමැද හිර වෙලාද? Right. Okay. So basically, so මම safe උත්තරයක් කියන්නේ. දැන් මම ඇත්ත ඔයාලට ඇත්ත කියන්නම්. ඔයාලට ගොඩක් උගන්වලා තියෙන විදිහට කියන්න. හරිද? When it comes to real economics, right? Real economics, monetary economics, they believe that what you mean by quantity theory of money is the simple first one. Quantity theory of money කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? Money supply එක වැඩි වෙද්දී positively price level එක වැඩි වෙනවා. Right? ඕක තමයි theory එක, logic එක. හැබැයි practically මොකද වෙන්නේ? ඕක අපි දන්නවනේ අපි model කරනවානේ. Right? ඕක පොඩ්ඩක් theoretically model කරනවා. To model this one, right? To model this quantity theory of money, we use what? What do we use to model this one? What again? Quantity theory of money එක model කරන්න what do we use? මේවට mathematical model එකක් කරන්න what do we use? මොකද අපි use කරන්නේ? Yes? Yeah. We basically use what? We basically use to model this one, we use exchange equation. Right? So we basically use to model this quantity theory of money, we use exchange equation. What is exchange equation? Actually, Rama, your exchange equation is what? Is your third one. Exchange equation එක කියන්නේ තමයි මොකක්ද? ඒක තමයි වාගේ quantity theory of money එකේ mathematical model එක. So what you have done is, right? It's a theory. එක පොඩක් theoretically තියෙන දෙයක්. ඒක theory එකෙන් කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? Money supply එකයි price level එකයි positively directly relation. But to make it more අපි කියන්නේ ටිකක් අර model කරන්න. So what you have done is we have used exchange equation. So what do you mean by exchange equation? It says money supply and GPL, right, or general price level has a direct positive relationship when what? Velocity and money circulation. Velocity of money circulation and the number of transactions are held constant, right? ඒක තමයි මේ දෙක අතර difference එක. ඒතර මතක තියාගන්න. Quantity theory of money කියලා exam එකේ අහුවොත් හරිද? කියන්න තියෙන safe answer එක තමයි කියන්න quantity theory of money is what? The direct relationship between money supply and price level, which is modeled through exchange equation, right? කියලා full stop කියන්න. ඊට පස්සේ කියන්න exchange equation reflects what? There is a positive relationship between money supply and price levels when the money circulation and the amount of transactions are held constant. ඒ කියන්නේ මම exam එකේදී කියන safe උත්තරේ තමයි මොකද්ද? මේ දෙක couple කරන්න. මේ දෙක couple කරන්න. හැබැයි differences ඇහුවොත් in exam, then be very mindful. Tell quantity theory of money never says it's a proportionate increment. අපේ theoretically කොහෙවත් ළමයි quantity theory of money කියන්නේ proportionate කියලා. ඒකේ කියන්නේ මොකද? law of demand වගේ or law of supply වගේ. We have positive relationship. And theory of demand, law of demand, ඒවල අපි කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? Sorry, law of demand එකේ law of supply එකේ කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? We have a positive relationship. Proportionate කියන්නේ. හැබැයි proportionate කියන්නේ මොකද? Unitary. unitary කියද්දි we call it as proportionate. The same thing. Quantity theory of money කියද්දි it's basically a positive thing. හැබැයි exchange equation එක it says it's a proportionate thing. ඒ කියන්නේ exam එකේදී හරිම safe ground එකේ play කරන්න මේ දෙක couple කරන්න. Just try to couple them together. Right? මේ දෙක couple කරලා එකට උත්තරය ලියන්න. හැබැයි clearly differences අහලා තිබ්බොත් be very direct. Quantity theory of money never says specifically මොකද මේක වෙනස්. මේක exam එකේදී differences දානවා differences කියන්න තියන්න ඕනේ. ඒතර quantity theory of money එකේ කියන්නේ නැහැ proportionate direct කියලා. හැබැයි මේකේ කියනවා proportionate direct කියලා. Because he makes two assumptions in exchange equation. හරිද? ඒක හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න. ඕක exam එකේදී ළමයි ගොඩක් නිකන් අවුල් යන තරම් ලියා ගන්න බෑ. සමහර අය මේක විතරක් ලියලා ඉන්නවා. මොකද paper එක බලන්න ඉන්නේ කවුද ළමයි? කවුද paper එක බලන්න ඉන්නේ? Right? Econ teacher English teacher. කවුද paper එක බලන්නේ වලගේ? Econ paper එක. Yeah, it's made by an English teacher, right? අත්තරම් බලන්න econ teacher කෙනෙක් අපි assume කරන එක බලන්න English teacher කෙනෙක්. ඒකින් answer ලියද්දි මේ ඔක්කොම එකතු කරලා ලියන්න. එතකොට it makes so solid. කම්මැලි කමට නිකන් මේ එක පාර්ට් එකක් විතර ලියලා ඉන්න එපා. හැබැයි differences ඇහුවොත් clearly differentiate කරන්න. හරි? Okay. So basically your exchange equation says what? MV equals PD. And your velocity and your transactions are held constant. So in tomorrow, this weekend paper, you will have a lot of MCQs in here, right? Percentage them mum කොහොමද එක හදන්නේ, index them mum කොහොමද එක හදන්නේ, absolute numbers them mum කොහොමද එක හදන්නේ, mathematical part එක අපි paper class එකේදී කරමු. ඒතකොට ඔයාලා practice එක තියෙනවා. හරි? හරි. හැබැයි exam එකේදී මතක තියාගන්න definition එක ඇහුවොත් ළමයි චුට්ටක් කටපාඩමින් වගේ ඉන්න හරි උත්තරේ ලියන්න. Right? Okay. So this is quantity theory of money and this is Keynesian approach. If anyone won't have a snap, have it. Hari. Now let's go into right. So definition of quantity theory of money, you can call it like this. Quantity theory of money states that there is a positive relationship between money supply and general price levels. Full stop. It is further explained through the exchange equation, where exchange equation represents that there is a direct positive relationship between the money supply and general price levels when the velocity of money circulation and the amount of transactions are held constant. Okay, තමයි කතන්දරේ. Short and sweet. Hari. Are you good to go to cost push? අපි දැන් යන්න cost push එකට නේ. Cost push. Right. Hari. Then young cost push එකට. Hari. දැන් මට කියන්න බලන්න. Cost push, when it comes to cost push, again, what does cost push inflation states? මට කියන්න cost push inflation එක කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? Cost push inflation එකේදීත් අර අපි කිව්වා වගේ full employment කතාව තේනවද නැද්ද? ආලමයි මට කියන්නේ cost push inflation scenario එකේදී right මේකේ හරි අපි කතා කරා වගේ තියෙනවා මොකක් හරි නිකන් full employment කතාවක් එහෙමත් නැත්නම් හැම වෙලාවෙම cost push එක right will there be a price hike right so when it comes to cost push right the difference is actually this is your මොකද supply එක ළමයි aggregate supply එක right not simple one this is your aggregate supply so මේක පොඩ්ඩක් ආයෙ මෙතන මෙහෙම draw කරමු right so you have the aggregate demand and you have your aggregate supply right so what would happen is this is your price level P1 Y1 now what would happen is unfortunately or fortunately whenever you are right whenever you have an aggregate supply shift you will have to witness a price hike right මෙතන ළමයි හැම වෙලාවෙම you will have a price hike so why this happen basically why this happen this simply happen due to your increase in your cost of production your cost of production increase as a result what would happen right as a result your aggregate supply will decrease when your aggregate supply decreased when this scenario happens what would happen your general price level will go up right this is the usual context so this is simply identified as cost push inflation now again talking in this cost push right at a cost push kita kata karati tell me what are the reasons right what are the reasons or is yes what are the main reasons behind this cost push inflation what are the main reasons දෙකක් තියෙනවා මොකක්ද yes මේක ඇස්සේ බොඩි සබ්පාර්ට්ස් එකක් තියෙනවා then cost push inflation එක ඇස්සේ what are they price okay ඔයාලට ගොඩක් දේවල් කියනවා okay again the right answer I'm looking for the right answer yes so basically ළමයි make sense of මම දැන් මේ අහන උත්තර ඔයාලා මට කියන උත්තරයෙන් දෙන්නේ right basically anyway right in any way if you are right in any way if you are what you call this if your costs increase production cost එක කොහෙන් හරි වැඩි වෙනවා නම් yes it is cost push right මම දැන් මේ පොඩ්ඩක් මේ අහන්න චුට්ටක් ස්පෙસિෆික් එක ලස්සන concept එකක් exam එකේදී අහන්න පුළුවන් යක් වලින් අහන්න so raw material prices වැඩි වෙනවා නම් taxes අනම්මනම් වැඩි වෙනවා නම් right ඒ taxes කියන්නේ මම කියන්නේ production taxes ඒව වැඩි වෙනවා නම් it just is tend to increase but under cost push in your level at your exam couple of main concepts are discussed right that is what the first one is called wage push and the second one is profit push right cost push තමයි හරිද cost push එක අස්සේ මේ අපේ තියෙන පොඩි නිකන් sub pushes එකක් වගේ ඔය මේක එක්සෑම් එකේදී පොඩක් අහන්න පුළුවන් නේ පොඩි ලකුණු දෙකකට වගේ right ලකුණු දෙකකට වගේ you can have this wage push profit push right and also we have one more right? ඒක push එකක්වත් නෙමෙයි. ඒකට push කියන word එක use කරන්නේ නැහැ. That is the third one, which is your basically your supply side shocks. Right? Other supply side shocks, right? To make it more precise. Right. But again, what do you mean by wage push? මොකද wage push inflation එකක් කියන්නේ? Tell me, what do you mean by wage push inflation? Exam එක උන්න අහනවා for 2 marks. Explain the concept of wage push inflation. What do you write? Wage push inflation. මොනවද ලියන්නේ wage push inflation කියලා කියනකොට? බලන්න, what do you mean by wage push? ළමයි මේ අපි කරන මේ ඩිස්කෂන් එක මාර ඉම්පෝටන්ට්. ඔයාලා දන්නවනේ මම මේ අද මොනවද කතා කරන්න කියලා. ඒක එන්න කලින් චුට්ටක් පාඩම් කරන් ආවා නම් මොකද වෙන්නේ නේද? චුට්ටක් lesson එක through overthrough ගියාම walk through කරා නම් you have more again the repetition thing, huh? So what would happen? What do you mean by wage push is, right? Wage push is very simple nutshell. It is increase of your wage rate. Why is the increase of wage rate? Due to your basically your imperfect factor markers, right? Wage rate increase, right? Due to pressure groups. Right? Wage rate increases due to pressure groups, right? That is simply identified by wage push. තව කෙනෙක් product specifically කියන්න පුළුවන් ඕන නම් මොකද imperfect factor market එකක් තියෙනවා, right? Imperfect factor market, perfect completion නෙමෙයි. Pressure groups එක control කරනවා ඒක. trade unions, labor unions කියලා ඉන්නේ. දැන් මේ දවස්වල මේ ඔය teachers ලා එළියට බහලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ වගේ කාලෙන් කාලෙට එක කට්ටිය ලංකාවේ එළියට බහිනව නේද? nurses දැනවා, doctors දැනවා, university lecturers දැනවා, non academic staff වෙන universities වල. That is what? Pressure groups, right? That is wage rate increases due to pressure groups. What do you mean by profit push? This is where what? You are increasing your profit, right? Who basically increase your profit? Basically, this is again imperfect market, and specifically taking the oligopoly. දැන් මට කියන්න ඔලිගොපොලි වලත් profit push කරන්නේ කවුද? දැන් මේ we are going back into fourth lesson, right? කවුද ඔලිගොපොලි වලත් profit push කරන්නේ? හැමෝටම කරන්න බෑ මේක. කාටද කරන්න පුළුවන්? ස්පෙෂල් සෙට් එකක් ඉන්නවා. කාටද ඒක කරන්න පුළුවන්? Can remember anyone? profit push කරන්න පුළුවන් කාටද? in oligopoly market. No, in oligopoly, we don't have employee unions. Huh? That is, employee unions in the pressure groups. Pressure groups can employ unions. Yes, what is this? Not price makers specifically. Basically, what? Who? Cartels. Cartels කියලා කොටද? right? අර එකතු වෙලා සෙට් වෙලා දේවල් කරන්නේ. අන්න එයාලා එකතු හිතන්නකො ලංකාවේ ටෙලිකමියුනිකේෂන් ඉන්ඩස්ට්‍රිය Hutch, Dialog, Mobitel, Airtel තවුණක් තියෙන ඉතරයි නේද ලංකාවේ. දැන් Tigo නැහැ, Etisalat නැහැ. So all these four ARS 4 or 5 four brands හිතන්න මේ හතර එකතු වෙලා කිව්වොත් per minute නැත්නම් එක මිනිත් එකකට රුපියල් 100ක් charge කරනවා කියලා call charge එක. right? That is what? profit push. අපිට එපා කියන්න පුළුවන්ද? එපා කිව්වොත් එම ලංකාව ගල් යුගයට යනවා, right? People are not using mobile phones and all these things. So that is profit push. The other one is, yes, I was to come that place, right? I was to come that place, right? So wage push and profit push, right? When you get this together, right? Something happen in the economy. මේක වෙන්න ගත්තම ළමයි right මොකද වෙන්නේ simple case wages වැඩි වෙනවා දැන් කෑ ගහනවා අපිට දියව වර්ග දියව මේක දියව price වැඩි wage එක වැඩි කරන්න කියලා හරි wage එක වැඩි කරනවා වැඩි කරාට පස්සේ මොකද වෙන්නේ අපේ cost of production එක වැඩි වෙනවා cost of production එක වැඩි වෙද්දි මොකද වෙන්නේ අපේ profit margin එක අඩු වෙනවා make sense නෝ practically වෙන හැටි දැන් මම මොකද කරන්නේ මගේ profit එක වැඩි කරගන්න ඕනේ හින්දා what I do මම ආයේ profit margin එක වැඩි කරනවා දැන් ওই දෙකෙන්ම මොකද වෙන්නේ අපේ final price level එක වැඩි වෙනවා right so this entire scenario goes on ඊට පස්සේ මොකද කරන්නේ දැන් ඔයාලා කරන වැඩක් මම කියන්නම් හරි සර්ට පන්තියේ ළමයි 36යි 40යි ක්ලාස් C එක 2000යි 2040 වැඩි කරා 80000යි බලන්න 80000ක් හම්බ කරන්නට per month කියලා ගණන් හදනවද නැද්ද I know that you guys do මමත් ඒකද කරා the same thing happens you being an employee කෙනෙක් විතර ගිය ගමන් මොකද කරන්නේ අම්මට සිරි price එක රුපියල් 250යි මෙච්චර profit ටැග් කරනවා අරකයි මේකේ මගේ ආයි price wage rate වැඩි කරන්න the same thing happens right ඕක තමයි this is real economics right what would happen price එක වැඩි කරා කියන්නකෝ ඔයා wage එක වැඩි කරනවා wage එක වැඩි කරාම මොකද වෙන්නේ profit margin අඩු වෙනවා so again you increase your profit margin then what would happen the price level increase ටික කාලයක් ගියාට පස්සේ ආයි employees ලා කෑ ගහනවා අන්න price එක වැඩි කරා profit එක වැඩි වුණා මට ආයේ what you are earning this amount of profits increase my salaries ආයෙ ඔන්න මේක වැඩි කරනවා ආයෙ මේක වැඩි වෙනවා it goes same story right අපි මිනිස්සු නේද so when you go to workplace දැන් මේ classes වල වල ගොඩක් අය ගණන් හදනවා වගේ වැඩ කරන්න ගියාම ඒක ගණන් හදලා බලනවා අච්චර profit එකක් හම්බ කරනවා මට දෙන්නේ මෙච්චර සොච්චම් පඩියක් නේ and all this stuff right මට මෙච්චරයි ගෙවන්නේ අච්චරයි ගෙවන්නේ and they earning huge amount of money right and CEO earns this amount of money car එකකුත් දෙනවා ගෙදරකුත් දෙනවා apartment එකක් දෙනවා you start bargaining so this entire scenario right is called what inflation මේ යන process එකට මොකක් කියලාද අපි කියන්නේ what inflation do we call it මොකද්ද inflation එක ඔය කැරි යන එකට මොකක් කියලාද කියන්නේ ආලවයි but inflation මොන inflation එක කියලාද කියන්නේ අපි ඒක circulation not circulation inflation specifically yes this is called your spiral inflation and what is spiral inflation right your inflation starts to go like a spiral hey price එක වැඩි වෙනවා ඊට පස්සේ ආයෙ මෙන්න මේ මිනිස්සු ගෑ ගන්නවා ඊට පස්සේ ආයෙ ඔන්න profit එක වැඩි කරනවා ආයෙ තවත් price එක වැඩි වෙනවා ආයෙ වැඩිච්ච ගමන් ඔන්න ආයෙ ගෑ ගන්නවා ආයෙ profit එක වැඩි කරනවා ආයෙ prices වැඩි වෙනවා this is called a spiral inflation also so due to cost push a spiral inflation can happen in the market or else the other way around due to spiral inflation there would be cost push inflation in the market right එතන පොඩි relationship එකක් තියෙනවා හරිද ඒක කියන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕන and the last one is supply side shocks in some cases අපි මේක ගැන වැඩි කතා කරන්නේ නැහැ ඒකින්ද මෙන්න මේ දෙක exam එකේ චුට්ටක් prominent කරලා ලියන්න ඊට පස්සේ මේක ලියන්න හරි දැන් මට කියන්න what do you mean by a supply side shock මොකක්ද මේ supply side shock එක කියන්නේ what do you mean by supply side shock alamai what do you mean a supply side shock මොකක්ද supply side shock එකක් කියන්නේ right so basically my supply side shock yeah even wage push, profit push can be identified as a supply side shock. But එකයි මම කිව්වේ මේකට දාන්න other supply side shocks here. So what are other supply side shocks? These are unexpected or else ad hoc. ඉඳ හිටලා වෙන දේවල්. Right? Things which අපි කියන්නේ අඩු කරනවා which limit your supply. Right? Things which happen in the market which limit your supply. That is called a supply side shock. Right? Supply side shock. So this basically can be maybe an oil price. Maybe oil price hike. Or else this is gas gas prices. Or else foreign exchange depreciate වෙනවා ඉතින් හිතනවා import කරන කෙනෙක් නම් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම prices වැඩි වෙනවා cost එක වැඩි වෙනවා right දැන් මේ දවස්වල apparel හදන කට්ටිය පොඩි issue එකක ඉන්නේ ඇයි අපේ ලංකාවට ගොඩක් apparel හැදුවට ළමයි right what would happen we basically ගෙන්නන්නේ කොහෙන්ද පිටරටින් China වලින් that is one thing right so it may be import tariffs maybe foreign exchange prices foreign exchange fluctuations those are what other supply side shocks අපේ supply එක අඩු කරන්න වෙන external shocks ඒවා organization එකට control කරන්න බෑ ඒකයි we basically call it as other supply side shocks then profit එක ළමයි at the end of the day you can control right and also wage push then සුදු වෑන් එකක් එල්ල බුස් කරලා කෑ ගහන එක උස්සන් යනවා කවුරුත් කෑ ගන්නෑ you still can do control these two up to a certain extent but ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මේ අනිත් supply side shocks තමයි external marketing in where you can do it right so just include oil prices hikes import raw materials right indirect taxes tariffs foreign exchange prashne currency issue those are identified as other supply side shocks so මතක තියාගන්න ඕනේ clearly right what do you mean by demand pull what do you mean by cost push then how demand pull defined by the two approaches right then make a mathematical part එකක් තියෙනවා ඊට පස්සේ මේක මතක තියාගන්න ඕනේ Keynesian approach how it says specifically on the full employment level එතනින් පස්සේ විතරයි you have the concern coming into pricing and then cost push how cost push relates with spiral inflation how cost push is caused due to wage push and profit push and then what sort of supply side shocks are there right අර ඕව clearly ළමයි ඔළුවේ තියෙන්න ඕන හරිද නැත්නම් වැඩ ඔක්කොම අවුල් වෙනවා හරි so if anyone want to have a snap have please right so I'll tell you I'll put a little note මම ඔයාලට දෙන්න ඕනේ ප්‍රශ්න ටික මම පොඩ්ඩක් දැම්ම note එකක් දාගන්න මට අමතක වෙනවා right so basically we didn't discuss on price indexes maths part we didn't discuss and MV equals PT we didn't discuss maths part and then how to rectify inflation these 3 points we need to put up make a කොහොමද concern කරගන්නේ මේ කොහොමද settle කරගන්නේ කියන එක we need to put ඒක මම paper එකේ දෙනවා මතක තියාගන්න හරි now the last part for the day is consequence right so the issues or as the consequences so when it comes to consequences we basically have two one is favorable one is unfavorable දැන් මේක exam එකේදී තමයි can be tested, right? How can be tested is සමහර මෙහෙම ප්‍රශ්නයක් ගන්න පුළුවන්. Critically evaluate, right, the consequences of inflation. The exam එකේදී පොඩ්ඩක් ඒ වගේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඇහුවොත්, ඒ කියන්නේ favorable ඒවා අහන්නෙත් නැහැ, unfavorable අහන්නෙත් නැහැ, critically evaluate කරන්න වගේ එකක් ඇහුවොත් තමයි keep this thing in your mind, you need to explain both. Critically evaluate. එතකොට දෙපැත්තම කියන්න ඕන. එක පැත්තක් විතරක් කියන්න බෑ. Or else consequences. Consequences කියවුවොත් දෙපැත්තම කියන්න ඕන. දෙපැත්තක් තියෙනවා. And the other thing is directly, if they ask about favorable or else unfavorable, you must need to keep things at least around 5 points under these individuals. Because ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මේ ගහන ළමයි 4 mark question එකක් ගන්න. ඒතර 4 mark question එකක් අහද්දී ලකුණු 4කට 5ක් විතර ලියන්න. Because ගොඩක් වෙලාවට එකකට එකයි තමයි දෙන්නේ. හැබැයි for the safe case scenario තව එකක් වැඩිපුර ලියන්න. ලකුණු කපන්නේ නැහැ එහෙම. හරිද? So 5ක් විතර ලියන්න. මොකද essay type න bullet points ලියන්න එපා. පොඩ්ඩක් explain කරන්න. හරි. මට කියන්න බලන්න. Unfavorable ඒවා නම් ගොඩක් තියෙනවනේ. right? ඔයාලා හිතලා ලියන්න පුළුවන්. Tell me couple of favorable things. මොනවාද favorable වෙන්නේ inflation එකේ ඉඳලා? Hi, my first question is inflation bad or good? Is inflation good or bad? අපි සාමාන්‍ය good or bad නේ කියන්නේ. Is inflation good or bad? Yes, it has both. Basically, inflation has both. දෙපැත්තම තියෙනවා. Good or bad දෙපැත්තම තියෙනවා. That's why no කාටවත් කියන්න බෑ inflation is bad කියලා. හරි inflation is bad කියන්න බෑ. Inflation එකේ දෙපැත්තම තියෙනවා. Good පැත්තකුත් තියෙනවා, bad පැත්තකුත් තියෙනවා. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් it is in development economics we say, right? If your inflation is under 10%. එහෙම නැත්නම් if it is only one digit. එක digit එකක් විතරක් නම් තියෙන්නේ somewhat okay. And again, if inflation is around 5, 6, 4, 5, 6 වගේ නම් තියෙන්නේ, it's really good. If it is above 6 to 10, ඒ කියන්නේ 6 අතරයි 10 අතරයි චුට්ටක් තියෙනවා නැත්නම් 7 to 8 to 10 වගේ තියෙනවා නම් හොඳයි, but not so good. But if it is really down even, if inflation is around 1%, 2% now, it's again a trouble. අපි එකට කියනවා inflation trap එක කියලා. Right? We are going to trap. Right? Liquidity trap එකක් වෙනවා. හිර වෙනවා. Right? Inflation එකෙත් හිර වෙනවා. පල්ලෙහාට ගිහලා හිර වෙනවා. Like Japan ඒ වගේ රටවල් තියෙන දැන් ඒ වගේ state එක. Inflation around 1%, 2%. Right? It's up to a certain extent it is not good. So basically we say if your inflation is 1 digit, it's good. But if it is around 4 to 6, it's perfect. Right? ඒක තමයි හරිම කාරණා. හරි. So we have favorables and unfavorables separately. මම මේ දෙකම එකතු කරලා right එකතු කරලා දෙපැත්තම කලවම් කරන විදිහට කියන්නම්. එතකොට you can keep things in your mind for better cases. Hari. Let's start with slowly, right, with your income distribution. Or else අපි ගමු lenders and borrowers කම ලේසි මේක. Tell me who is benefited? Does lenders benefit or else borrowers benefit? How do everyone benefit? Lenders or borrowers due to inflation? Lender or borrower? සල්ලි දුන්නේ කෙනාද benefit වෙන්නේ? සල්ලි ගත්තේ කෙනාද? Yes? Due to inflation, who is get benefit? Sally got take care. Because why? Time value of money. Value of money goes down. Then ඔයාද ලක්ෂයක් ගන්නවා. You take 1 lakh today. Why 1 lakh given අවුරුදු 10 to me. Now after 10 years 1 lakh කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? නිකන් දැනෙන්නේ නැති වෙයි. Right? So ඒකෙන්ද borrower will get benefited. So you can write borrower gets benefited. And on the other hand side, lender is not benefited. Right? The next one. Okay, so interest go up, right? It's a very valid question. Look here, right? We assume other factors remain constant, right? Inflation. Inflation is a one variable, right? When we take inflation, one variable, we assume other factors remain constant. Yes, we have relationship with the general price level and interest rate, but we assume other factors remain constant. Huh? That's why this happens. Other factors remain constant. All right. Next is about the other party who can take is savers. Savers, and again we can call it as borrowers if you want. How about saving? Saving get benefited or not get benefited? It's unfavorable for savers or not? Save karna kattiram kada venum. Yes. Yes. It's basically unfavorable for savers. ඇයි ඔයාලා සේව් කරාට පස්සේ මොකද වෙන්නේ? ලොකුවට දෙයක් හම්බෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඇයි? prices පටපට කරලා වැඩි වෙනවා. ඒකට නිකන් බැංකුවේ දාලා හිටියත් no point, right? You basically need to get something in your mind, something in your hand, right? So it is unfavorable for savers also, right? So what more? What are the benefits you have? Tell me a benefit you have. With this, who is encouraged? Yes, that's the other thing, right? So on the other hand side, right, we have variable income earners, benefited, and fixed income earners. Unfavorable. Right? Variable kattiyata it's good. Who is a variable? Right? Maybe business people. Godak kada business කරන කට්ටියට variable හම්බෙන්නේ. daily හම්බෙන කට්ටිය එහෙම නැත්නම් අර වැඩි වෙන unit එකට හම්බෙන කට්ටිය. Right? For them it's good. But for fixed income earners like salary හම්බෙන කට්ටිය it's bad. Because අපේ usual lamai සාමාන්‍යයෙන් salary increment එකක් ගත්තොත් in a company it goes like a percentage. Salary increment එක හම්බෙන්න ළමයි හිතන්න එපා මේ first year දැන් ඔයාලා හිතන්නකෝ වැඩට යනවා කියලා 50000 විතර salary එකක් හම්බෙනවා. එකපාරට අවුරුද්දක් experience ගත්ත ගමන් වාට නිකන් 50 එකට 1 lakh වගේ හම්බෙනවා. එහෙම වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Right? It goes with a simple percentage. salary එක තිබ්බ ගන්න වඩා percentage එකක් තමයි වැඩි වෙන්නේ. Right? එතකොට ගොඩක් වෙනවට 10% වැඩි වෙනවා කියලා හිතන්නකෝ. Maybe what 55 Padigana. But on the other hand side, what has happened? Your inflation has hit and badu okkogema prices වැඩි වෙනවා. එතකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ? Fixed income earner gets the huge hit. So with this variable income gets benefited. With this, what would happen? Right? The other thing is what would happen is basically investments are right? Investments are encouraged. Because why you are invest කරන්නේ? Because you know when you invest, right? මොකද සල්ලි අතිරියෙන් ගිහලා වැඩක් නැහැ. right? දැන් ඔය invest කරනවා. invest කරපුවාම you become a variable income earner. Right? Right? You become a variable income earner. Then you have more benefits. On the other hand side, you can invest money in your what? In assets. And you can invest money in your assets. What would happen on the other hand side? What would happen is asset prices go up. Assets කියන මොනවද ළමයි? වාහන, car, gold. දැන් මේ දවස් හිතන්නකෝ මම car එකක් ගත්තා නම් ඒ කාලේ කොවිඩ් එකට කලින් import ban එකට කලින් car එකක් ගත්තා නම් අද මට car එක විකුණන්න තිබ්බා බර ගානකට නේද? Look, you can increase in your assets. And top of this, when you do all these things, what would happen, right? Your economic growth, right? you will have positive impacts on your economic growth also. Investment වැඩි වෙනවා, income කරන කටිය වැඩි වෙනවා, and you will have positive impacts on your economic growth also. That's why it says below 10%, 4 to 6% අතර inflation එක තියාගන්න පුළුවන් නම් it's really good, right? And top of that, right, you can call about how it impacts on your importers, how it impacts on your exporters, right? You can even explain that also, right? But again, when it comes to imports, right, and exports, who is encouraged during an inflation, importers or as exporters? How they encourage when importers or exporters are? Yes. So basically what would happen is importers are encouraged. Importers are encouraged and exporters are discouraged. So if someone asks you how, right? If someone asks you how exporters are discouraged, right? කොහොමද ඒක වෙන්නේ ළමයි? හිතන්න ඔයා එක්ස්පෝර්ටර් කෙනෙක්. හරිද? දැන් ඔයා හිතන්න අපි හිතමු ඩොලර් චේන්ජ් එක ඩොලර් කියන්නේ අපේ එක්ස්චේන්ජ් රේට් එක කොන්ස්ටන්ට්. එක්ස්චේන්ජ් රේට් එක වෙනස් වෙන්නේ. හිතන්න you are selling a product and now $1 equals 100 rupees. Assume මම නම් හිතන්නේ මේක මෑත ඉතිහාසයක තිබ්බ දෙයක් කියලා, but assume that it is $1 is 100 rupees. Rupees. Right? What would happen is now you are a person, you are selling this, your product value is 200 rupees. So you are selling it as $2 in the market. Now, okay, the export market take a competitive price. Now, what would happen is due to inflation, your price has increased up to 400. Now, your price become automatically $4. Yes, $4 in your export market. Then how the in export market it's perfect competition. So in perfect competition in export market, when this happens, right? Look, exporters are discouraged. No one is willing to buy this product, right? This is the logic behind this. And there is a question about this economic growth. Will there be a nominal growth and real growth? So again, I didn't explain on nominal and real. So I'll put it on nominal and real so that I can explain this using the paper class also. But coming to the point, due to inflation, both happens, right? So I'll explain it in the paper class, how real also grow, right? How real also grow. I'll explain you in here. Look, Mankiwa, what would happen when inflation happens? You are not keeping money in your hand. You are putting money in your business. When you put money in your business, what would happen? You produce more. Now you have more money, you have more capital. When you produce more, even your real output increase, right? That is how your economic growth achieves, right? So link the process, but that is how it happens. So you will have both, nominal and real, both happens. The difference between nominal and real we'll be discussing and we'll be touching through the paper class, right? Okay. And the last one I want to discuss is, right, due to these consequences, right, we have two important costs. May exam mein kya cost jate ho, right? We have two types of costs as what? Menu cost and shoe leather cost. What do you mean by, right? What do you mean by menu cost? What do you mean by menu cost? Alamai, what do you mean by menu cost? මොකද්ද menu cost එක කියන්නේ? Yes. So basically, what do you mean by menu cost is simply, right? In your business, you will have to make regular changes in your what? In your menus, in your price tags, right? In maybe in your banners, right? Or pricing use can have you will have to increase or you will have to change it. That cost is called as menu cost. Menu cost කියන්නේ menu එක සාමාන්‍ය restaurant එකක ගියාම you get a menu menu එකේ pricing වෙනස් වෙන එක තමයි menu cost කියන්නේ. But it is not only the menu, it is maybe price tags, it may be your price display boards, it may be in your banners, it may be in your leaflets, right? So that's all the things we identified as menu cost. The next one is shoe leather cost. What do you mean by shoe leather cost? What do you mean by shoe leather cost? Yes. Yes. How this shoe leather cost came into power is into concept is මේ කොඩා මේ ලංකාවේ මේ තිබ්බ එකක් නෙමෙයි අපි කියන්නේ foreign European market එකේ they use boots, they use shoes, right? So what do you mean by shoe leather cost is in a simple nutshell, when you go to the bank, when you go to the ATM regularly වගේ සපත්තුව ගෙවෙනවා. Your shoes starts to rip off, right? And ගෙවෙනවා නම්මන ඔක්කොම වෙනවා. So that cost is identified as shoe leather cost. But that is the undergrounding meaning, how it came into the general context. But in reality and in theoretically, what we call is whatever the transportation cost and additional cost, right? You incur, right? You incur of withdrawing money continuously from the bank is identified as shoe leather cost. It might be identified as your time in the queue. නැත්තම් දැන් ඔයාලා දන්නවා ATM එකකින් ළමයි withdraw කරාදී සල්ලි නිකන් එන්නේ නැහැනේ. රුපියල් 5ක් කැපෙනවා. In most of the banks it happened, right? 5 rupee deduct වෙනවා, right? That part is also be identified as shoe leather cost, right? So whatever the additional costs you incur, maybe opportunity cost even, right, which can be monetary, which can be identified in monetary terms, is identified as shoe leather cost, right? Okay, so such a way lamai we have couple of things to be noted. Now තියෙනවා ගොඩක් හරිද? note එක පොඩ්ඩක් බලන්න. මම මේක important parts එක තමයි ඔයාලට ගත්තේ. හරි. If anyone wants to have a snap, have it. No. If the examiner asks you what are the costs of inflation here, right? Costs of inflation කිව්වම දැන් ඒක අහන්න තැනයි අහන විදියත් එක්ක it might vary, right? සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි in general terms ඕනමක cost එකක් කියලා අහුවත් ඒ කියන්නේ disadvantage, right? Cost of inflation කියලා අහුවත් ගොඩක් අයට මේ කියන්නේ disadvantages of inflation, right? නැත්තම් සමහර තැන් වලදී depending on the question they have been asked, හරි දැන් අහලා තියෙන විදිය පොඩ්ඩක් බලන්න. සමහර වෙලාවට they might be asking on menu cost and shoe leather cost වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. සමහර වෙලාවට they might be asking what about the opportunity cost of inflation, right? So don't be very specific telling that okay but there are only two types of cost in inflation. එහෙම කියන්න බෑ. හරිද? inflation එකේ cost කියන disadvantages ඔක්කොම. right? ඒ සාමාන්‍ය අපි in general English terms අපි කියන්නේ ඕනම එකක cost කිව්වම is something else, huh? ඒකින්ද හිමිතන්න එපා දෙකයි තියෙන්නේ කියලා කියන්න එපා. නෑ. මේ ඔක්කොම ලියන්න. ඒ ඔක්කොම happen. Those are also costs. ඒ කියන්නේ disadvantages what happen. What happens in present market in Sri Lanka inflation? Okay, very interesting question. What happens in present? ඇයි මේ inflation එකක් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? අපි කතා කරාද? නෑනේ. Why this inflation happen? Anyone? ඒ economics එක ගන්න ළමයිනේ මට කියන්න බෑ. ඇයි inflation එකක් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ ලංකාවේ? දැන් inflation එකක් නේ තියෙන්නේ. ඔයාලා Facebook යනවනේ දැකලා තියෙනේද? අර අවුරුදු ගානක නැත්තම් අවුරුදු ගාන sorry මාස ගානක ෆොටෝස් අරන් දානවා කිරිපිටි මෙච්චරකින් වැඩි වුණා, හාල් මෙච්චරකින් වැඩි වුණා වයි. Tell me why? Cost push the demand pull මොකක්ද? ළමයි though theoretically we study everything under one මේක වෙද්දි අරක වෙන්නේ නැහැ මේක වෙද්දි මේක වෙන්නේ නැහැ right but practically what would happen this everything happens at one plate right someone would argue look here it's cost push right then look import කරන්න බෑ cost push taxes තියෙනවා cost push and someone would call it it's look here it's Keynesian approach of demand pull we don't have products and we are demanding more and someone would argue look here it's money printing ඔය ඔක්කොම එකතු වෙලා තමයි ළමයි inflation has rise in Sri Lankan context කෙනෙක්ට කියන්න බෑ අරකින්ද නෙමෙයි මේකින්ද විතරයි එහෙම කියන්න බෑ but in terms of my usual thorough knowledge දැකපු දේවත් එක්ක the main reason is money printing right money print කරා මොකද උනේ money supply එක වැඩි වුණා then you start to demand right then demand කරන්න පටන් ගන්නවා demand කරන්න පටන් ගද්දී price will go up right so when the prices go up right the demand pull happens and also on the other hand side right due to this covid with all these import barriers and inavailability of resources cost push also happen in the other way around දැන් හිතන්න ඉස්සර තමයි අපි සාමාන්‍ය විදිහට ගන්නකො නිකන් රෙස්ටෝරන්ට් එකට යනවා නම් රෙස්ටෝරන්ට් එකේ ළමයි නිකන් කියනවනේ කෑම ගන්න නේද දැන් restaurant එකකින් need to provide hand sanitizer restaurant එකේ ඉන්න කට්ටිය අර coat එක දාලා වගේ වහගෙන කරගෙන gloves දාන් ඉන්නේ ඒකට cost එකක් යනවා right and also coat හිතන්න for simple example wedding එකකට 150 දාන්න පුළුවන් තැනක දැන් දාන්න පුළුවන් 25 50 වගේ look cost push right so everything has happened in the country of Sri Lanka right now so some things are beyond our control some things are within our control and අපි ඉතින් economics ලා නෙමෙයි but again policy makers ලා නෙමෙයි though we know economics so අපිට ඉතින් critic කරන්න පුළුවන් and අපි බලමු next class එකේ let's try to see the way forward for Sri Lanka how Sri Lanka can get out of this inflation trap right අපි බලමු කතා කරලා බලමු next week හොඳ ideas එකක් හිතලා එන්න කොහොමද අපි මේකෙන් එළියට එන්නේ right අපි ඔය campus වල universities වල කරන්නේ ඕක තමයි ළමයි අපි කියන්නේ university life එකක් කියන්නේ ඕක තමයි ඉතින් අපිට assignment එක මොකක්ද assignment එක තමයි අපිට කියන way forward plan එකක් හදන් ඉන්න කියලා how Sri Lanka can get rid of this inflation trap මට මතකයි එකපාරක් මම යුනිවර්සිටි එකේදී හැදුවා how Sri Lanka can be get rid of this debt trap මම ඉන්න කාලේ debt trap එක තමයි ලොකුම ප්‍රශ්නේ තිබ්බේ අපි කොහොමද debt trap එකෙන් එළියට එන්නේ කියලා අපිට assignment එකක් කරන්න තිබ්බා කොහොමද එන්නේ කියලා variables ඔක්කොම analyze කරලා පොඩි mathematical model එකක් තියෙනවා software එකකින් එක දාලා කරලා හදලා ගන්න තිබ්බා so those much of fun stuff can be learned at university ඊටත් වඩා මම නම් කියන්නේ ගොඩක් ආතල් and fun the life is so different right ඔයාලා ඉස්කෝලේ යනවා වගේ නෙමෙයි මාව වෙනස් I hope when you go to university that there would be no COVID and hope that your university life won't have Zoom right we'll have physical interaction and it would be super fun right so anyway so we'll be stopping the class for the day and a couple of things have been remaining to do and those will be discussed in the paper class paper එකේදී මම ඔක්කොම දාලා දෙන්නම් ඒකෙන් අපි ප්‍රශ්න කතා කරමු right so that's it pretty much in the day so we have what 96 and තව දවස් ටිකකින් 95 92 94 sorry 94 93 92 and it goes down so spend your time very wisely start working along right if you have any concerns drop me a text I'll be there to help you out and also keep this thing in your mind repetition is key for mastery and concentration and focus is the key for success right okay Ramai so it's a good day and we have done so much of work and stay safe and take care and have a good health and හොඳට වතුර බොන්න හොඳට කන්න බොන්න and පාඩම් වට්ටි කරගන්න until we meet up on this Saturday evening at 9 p.m. with the paper right okay Ramai take care God bless and good night